Welcome to our already 10th Business Agility Boost. We are broadcasting from the Netherlands, so I like to say good afternoon. But maybe you are watching from a different place in the world and you are already celebrating your weekend, or maybe you just grabbed a cup of coffee and have an entire wonderful day in front of you. Let us know in the chat where you come from. For the ones who are joining and do not know me, my name is Elise Hofmeester. I'm founder of Twingster, and it's my purpose to create spaces where everyone is able to thrive. Human-centric, purpose-driven, value-based. Next to our consultancy and academy, LinkedIn Live is a great space to share our knowledge and learn from each other and shape the future. Today, we dive into the essence of employee experience and its pivotal role in shaping successful, purpose-driven organizations. So I'm very excited to dive into this topic with our guest of today, Helene Mess, thought leader on employee experience and happiness at work. So let's invite her in the room. Hi, Helene.
Hello,
Welcome.
Alisa, and everyone who is joining us today. Thank you for having me in your LinkedIn Live.
Yes, of course. You're very welcome, and I'm very excited to have you here and to share a bit more about employee experience and why is that so important. But before we dive headfirst in the topics, can you elaborate a bit more on what you do and why working with employees experience happy people make better business is your purpose?
Well, Alisa, I'm a former HR director,
Yeah.
and I'm for the last 20 years, I really want to know how to become the best employer in, for me, the Netherlands, and what can we learn from other top employers. Um, One day, it was a long time ago, I became on the list and I became number two best employer in the Netherlands.
Ooh.
But yes, I was very happy about that.
Yeah.
But the organization changed the rules after that. And they told me, they say, up till now, you could be a top employer when you have all your HR systems, your KPIs are nice, your salaries are nice, then you can end up sky high. But from now on, the only thing we measure is the mean of what the employees think of you as an employer, their engagement. Do they love you as an employer? And the next year, I didn't was on the list anymore. I came down from number two to not on the list.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Yeah.
because and that's when my journey starts by trying to find out what are the really best employers in the world and in the Netherlands are doing different than what I was doing, because I found out that I was totally focused on the systems, the procedures, the
Mhm.
KPIs, and not on really became uh, an employer that people love to work there and stay there because they love to work there
Mhm.
and have a great image, but also not only the image outside, but really make it come true when you work over there. I totally missed that point. And for the last 20 years, I'm studying and learning and
Mhm.
share my knowledge about what we call today employee experience, not starting from your expert uh, in the organization as an HR person, but
Mhm.
start from the experience people need to have to become the best version of themselves at work.
Yeah, wow.
And in 2016, I start my
Mhm.
company, and my company's name is HX Work, and it's for short for the human experience of work, because I don't believe anymore in human resource management, treating people as a resource. It's not a, you can do that anymore, but deliver a human experience at work. And that's why I called my company that name. And,
Yeah.
and we are consultants, interim management. I give keynotes, master classes. We do research about employee experience. And today I'm with you.
Yeah, wonderful, Helene. So we can learn a lot from your experience and how you went along the years and dived into the topic, learned from it. And you also wrote your book. I'm not sure if you mentioned that also.
No, I know.
No.
I didn't know. Well, my purpose is to reach as much people I can do, and I do think writing a book can help with that. So,
Mhm.
uh, yes, I'm the co-writer of Employee Experience. Unfortunately, it's written in Dutch. One day I hope for a translation, but up till now it's in Dutch.
Yeah.
And I also have smaller ebooks on my website if people are interested.
Yeah.
And the book is all about the concept of employee experience and the way you can, well, make it better in the organization. The five, let's call it, pillars of employee experience,
Mhm.
and also, of course, why it's such a great concept
Yeah.
to have in your organization.
Yeah, and I think we will hear later on a bit more about what are the essential pillars in an employee experience. But when I support organizations in change and transformation, I also work with employee experience. And regularly we discuss employee experience, employee engagement, employee happiness. But doing so, I observe that the definitions and what we mean with it is not always that clear. And they are also mixed up a lot.
Yeah.
So, can you give us a bit of guidance on what we mean with what is employee experience, what is engagement and happiness, and
Well,
how do they relate to each other?
yeah. Well, um, there are different definitions, but for me, employee experience is the way to reach employee engagement.
Ah,
So for me, engagement is the outcome of a great employee experience the organization provides to their employees. Employee experience has its focus on the organization side, the system, the environment people are working. And
mhm.
we see, if I look at the books about happiness at work, they have their focus on the individual and
Yeah,
a team. What can you do to become happy at work? What can you do with your team? And employee experience is the system, the organizational side. What can the organization do to facilitate a great employee experience? And for me, the outcome is engagement. And when I talk about what people need in their organization, I love research from Professor Moskanter from Harvard. And
yeah,
she came up, she said, well, everybody needs a base. You need your salary, you need safe work, not too far from your home, that nice perks, that's all the basics. But to become really happy, really productive in your organization, she came up with the three M's. You need meaning, purpose,
mhm, yeah,
meaning in your work. You need mastery, the tools to do a great job and get the feedback from your people around you and to grow in your job. And the third one is membership,
mhm,
belonging, have a great time with your team, a great relation with your boss. Very important. We see it nowadays in employee experience, the importance of great leadership,
yeah, yeah,
that you have fun with your team. And these are the three M's. And organization, they have five pillars to influence uh, these three M's.
Okay. And which are those pillars? Then how you can influence those three M's?
Well, for organization, we focus on the 5 pillars, and the first pillar is their culture.
Mm-hmm.
And the culture start with what organization are you? What's the purpose of your organization? What are the values of your organization?
Mm-hmm.
How do you transfer these strategic goals, purpose, values to your organization? It's also about communication.
Yeah.
Um, do you deliver diversity and inclusion? Are people happy? Do you really listen to people? Yeah. Culture, things like that. That's the
Yeah.
first pillar.
Yeah.
The second is the physical environment. Do you have places where people love to go? Because 50% of us don't need to go anymore to the office. They
Yeah.
want to go there for inspiration and to socialize with your people and discuss things. Do you give an environment, well, what really improves creativity, really reflects the purpose of your organization? Do
Mm-hmm.
you get inspired when you walk down there, or is there only, let's say, a white wall and gray carpet and nothing else? That's the second one, the physical environment. The third one, of course, is management and ways of working.
Yeah.
Management, do you have managers who really love their people, who want to coach them and let them grow? Do your organization provide ways of working that really make sense, like agile working? We see it from the
Mhm.
research
Yeah.
that agile working really helps to create a great employee experience. And the third one is all about, let's say, HR, the whole employee journey from the first contact till leaving and be an ambassador of the organization. Do you provide an employee journey that people love to talk about their grow?
Mm-hmm.
Have an onboarding where they love to stay with you, or like 20% in the Netherlands say, well, this was day one. I wish I could go and never come back again because it was terrible. Um, so all about the HR journey. And this, last but not least, all about IT techniques,
Yeah.
tools. Do you provide tools where people say, I would love to have this at home, instead of, why can't I not bring all the apps I work with at home, can I bring to the office? I,
Yeah.
I, um, I do think that there are companies where people, like I say, love to go there, become more healthier a day at the office than a day at home, have tools where they think they, I can really do a great job with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, really, well, like I said, really feel great at work. And this is employee experience, is going every time going that step in that direction.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for this explanation, Helene, because I think there are a lot of there's a lot of content and things in the pillars that organizations can start with, and I can also imagine if they hear this, that they maybe think, "Oh my goodness, this is really much." Um, so when an organization likes to start, because there are organizations who are already working with employee experience. Some work with parts of employee experience, do not have the entire employee experience maybe yet. But if they start, what do you see is organizations have the most benefits with which part of the employee journey is that?
Well, the most benefit is, let me start by really understanding employee experience, because I
Hmm.
see a lot of organizations that says, oh yes, we're doing that. And when I really look into it, they're not doing that. They're just doing it at the old fashioned way. because employee experience has some superpowers you really need to understand. So for me, the first step is really understand what's the difference between traditional HRM and employee experience. Like
Mhm.
like there is, do you really want to put your people first, make them important, listen to them, see them as a whole human being instead of only that person that works for you? So are you really willing to put your people first and listen to them and take a step to a human centric approach? And the next superpower is, are you really want to be aligned, congruence between what you say and what you do and how it feels in the organization? I come with a lot of organization and I say, what kind of employer do you want to be? And then they say, well, yes, we have some EVP somewhere around here. Let's try to find that. And then that's not what I mean. What kind of employer you really want to be for your people? What
Mhm.
kind of ambition do you have? What separates you from all your competitors? So that's a step. And the third one is, are you willing to really put that human centric approach into business, with, like I call it, corporate empathy? Are you really want to listen, talk with people, go from their perspective, not from the HR expert, um, copying from outside perspective?
Mhm.
And are you willing to co-create with your employees? Not only listen to them and they say, okay, we come back with something, and then
Mhm.
there's a big bang and there's a new system, procedure, whatever. No, are
Mhm.
you willing to co-create the whole way with them and take
And
little steps?
and how would that look like, Helene, that co-creation? Because a lot of organizations, or what I hear, they say HR is from the employee experience. Well, we both know, and other people who work with employee experience know that that's not the case. It cannot be the case. But how would you see that? Do you have experiences or examples of organizations who do that?
Yeah, sure. Yes, I recognize what you say. When you ask something from HR, then you say, "No, you're the expert. You should know." And then I say, Do you say the same to your marketing department? Never talk to your clients because your marketing, you should know." No, of course not. You have to talk with each other, and we start. Uh, well, first we do some research and we prioritize where we're going to start, but then it starts with one-on-one talk with people, make personas, to really put uh, all the aspects of the people who work there, make their personas from then. We ask for people who wants to be in a group to give us feedback and guide us along the way. So,
Mhm.
so there are different things to do. Sometimes, sometimes when I ask to improve recruitment, I start with writing myself on a vacancy and see what kind of reactions I get or how I'm treated, because sometimes they don't know who I am. And when I give back what I experienced, it's sometimes crazy what things you learn, or you don't get a reaction from recruiters, or you're totally lost in their systems and things like that. So
Mhm.
we employee experience always say, do your research with the people who you're delivering for, and
Mhm.
do it in different kinds. All, maybe two, no, rather three, four different way. Do your research
Mhm.
and keep a group with you to check every step you're taking.
Yeah. And Helene, You talk about groups of people, and you also mentioned create personas, but maybe not everyone understands what personas are. Can you explain a bit about what is a persona and why is that important?
Well, it's a step from really broad groups to really individual, tailor-made work. It's some sort of in the middle, but a great way to start for HR. That you really got to learn a group and like transfer it like it's one person with a name, with a background, with hobbies, with education, with characteristics, um, with well, all kinds of things that are necessary to really understand the group you're working for. So from one group, you do your research and
Mhm.
you make it like it's one person. The person doesn't exist, but it's a way to really be have more empathy with the
Mhm.
group you're working for.
Yeah.
Um, maybe you you work with persona. You must
Yeah,
be.
yeah, yeah. I
Uh,
certainly work with personas because in our transformation or change projects, we a lot of things change for employees in the organization, for leaders in the organization. In the same way as that we create customer journeys, so we want to know what our customers like and value. We also want to know what our employees or the employees in the transformation and change value, and especially also what they need to be able to make the change. So yeah, there we start with creating personas for certain groups in the organization who are impacted. And I always say, if you have done this empathy mapping, so you know what they feel, think, need, skills, learn, etc. Um, and if you create the persona around it, then put a persona on your laptop or on your screen or on the wall. So with everything you do in the project you work in, doesn't even have to be a change project, right? With everything you do, you can have a look at, okay, but these are the people in the organization we created for. So what would they need? And then check it regularly. So every time involve the people in your organization, check if it's indeed the right thing you are doing, if or if they need something else, because it's an iterative approach. You cannot, yeah, think about, okay, what would they need in a year? That's difficult.
Yeah, I
So
totally agree. It's a tool that marketing use for their customers, and
yeah,
HR could use some marketing tools. And I'm totally agree. It helps you with create more empathy for the people you are doing it all for.
yeah.
Yeah,
So basically, you step in the shoes of the people in your organization, your employees and the leaders and so on.
yeah,
And I heard you say, and it's also one of the pillars, if I wrote it down correctly. One of the pillars is about management, leadership, way of working. So why is that so important?
well, we see it from all research that management is very, very important in the employee experience.
Mhm.
And because um, and sometimes it's it's hard for HR because I see companies working on a great employee experience, you know, great recruitment, great onboarding, and still they say, well, the outcome, you know, our sickness rate doesn't go down, our turnover doesn't go down, and a lot of times it's due to management.
Mhm.
Everything a manager does, you know, if you get a compliment from your manager, it makes 3 times more impact than from your colleagues. And I do wish we would change that in organization, that managers become coaches, really servant leadership, want to improve your talent. But it's not, it's in a lot of organization, it's not the case.
No.
Gallup, an organization, said that 70% from the variation in employee engagement comes from management.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is very very important.
Yeah. Yeah. And you also conduct a research. Eh? I'm not sure if it's every year, but I know you did this for several years, and you recently, I think last week, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Launched
We
the latest research. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And what do you observe there?
Well, a lot of things. We did it before, and well, what we see is that the importance of employee experience is on a totally different level than 2 years ago. In the Netherlands, 2 years ago, 14% said it's important, and now it's the Netherlands and Belgium up to 60% priority, high priority. So it's really going up the priority. But the number of companies that really making steps are on the same level. Still, 30% says we're in an orientation stage. Not 17%, so not even 20% are advanced in employee experience. And that's what I noticed when I work in the company, that companies are really understanding the priority, but doesn't know how really get things going, because they have to make a switch from traditional HR to employee experience, and it keeps them stuck because they find it difficult to make that step. We see now in organization that more organization have an employee experience role in the organization. Sometimes one, sometimes a group, but it's getting more. And I do think it helps to make steps in employee experience. We also see that using design thinking methods is growing. 10% is really full-fledged, and 20% is starting with the first method in design thinking. For me, it's also a very important element to make steps. And we ask, what do you need to make the more steps in employee experience? And then the companies who almost not started or just started, they say knowledge and money. And the companies who are making their steps, they have on 1, 2, and 3 is more support from their HR colleagues and their boss, more support from board members, more support from other support departments. So support is for them number one. And we also asked, what are you working at in the employee journey? Because some years ago it was recruitment and onboarding. And now we see that number 1 is onboarding, number 2 is learning and development. In the Netherlands, 3 is performance management. In Belgium, it's number 3 is communication. But we see slightly that organization, I think they go down the road. You know, they follow the employee journey from the employees. So they
Yeah.
started with recruitment, onboarding, learning and development, performance management, and go on. And that's not the way we advise organization to do so.
Yeah, and that's also one of the comments you saw on screen, I think, from Maximilian. He said, if you start the EX with recruiting and onboarding, you ignore 80 to 90% of the people.
Maximilian, you're totally right. So when we advise organizations, say, don't go just the road. Start with what has the greatest value for your employee experience.
Yeah.
What makes that people have a bad day at work? What makes that they want to change job, want to leave? Um, that's where you should start first.
Mm-hmm. And how can you make that more tangible for organizations? We got a question already in the beginning from. No, it's about creating the business case for change.
Mhm.
So when you are able to measure in your organization how people feel, the satisfaction, engagement, etc., then you also know better where to start or where to pay attention to. And that's also the idea in the employee experience. If you have the entire employee experience there, you can measure that. But how would you build that business case? This is a question from one of the people who registered. So how do we do that? And what is the role of HR in that? Is there a role for HR there?
Well, the business case, well, there is so much research about what a great employee experience has for business results. We see companies, when I look at the Netherlands, the best companies to work for, they have a 50% lower turnover. They have 50% lower sickness rate. They get twice as much people who react on vacancies. They have a better customer experience because it's nice to work with people who love their job and stay with the company. So there are a lot of research done, but I see it now in organization where HR start and they say, well, we want to reduce the turnover in the first year because we see in research that the average of 50% of younger people change their job in the first year. 50%.
Wow,
That's
high.
that's high. So
Mm-hmm.
you want to prevent that. And then they start with a great first day or first week on onboarding. And then they say, but we don't see results. No, because it's a lot of time. It's not HR. Because these people have a great first day and they go to their department and the manager is not there and they don't have a buddy who takes care of them and the job is totally different than what's been told at the recruitment stage. And and then they leave. So when you start, it's not employee experience. I do think that HR has a very important role.
Mm-hmm.
Just take the lead, but it's not only for HR. You can have a great employee experience if it's getting in your DNA. If you're
Mm-hmm.
doing it all together with management, support departments, HR, teams, you get the best business results when you work together. It's an attitude, it's DNA, it's not a department employee experience.
Yeah, yeah, and that's nicely said. So it's really a multidisciplinary approach also, and therefore maybe ook the design thinking tooling that really helps to involve people in the organization in really crafting the employee experience.
You're right.
Um,
I
the-
see. I see now that the education for HR and other support departments, they take design thinking methods in the education.
Yeah.
But the people who are working now need to find another way to get that method, to learn from that method. Really, I would say don't waste your time. Start with learning that method and bring it into practice.
Yeah, yeah, and then maybe also what I sometimes see is that organizations already work with customer journeys and customer experience. So um, to start with the employee experience, there's a reason why you do that, because you want customer centricity and deliver value to your customers. But the same you also want to do for the employees. And if you want to create human centricity in your organization, human-centric culture. So you can also, you do not have to reinvent the wheel.
No, it's
Talk with the colleagues in the organization who work on that, learn from it, and let them help you to craft also the employee
you're
experience.
right. That was one of the outcome from the research also, that especially bigger companies, they find more optimism, find a way to work together with customer experience and learn from their methods.
Yeah.
But I also see in the Netherlands that companies say, well, I don't know what to do with HR. Let we ask customer experience to do the employee experience also. And I'm saying, no, I believe in working together. I don't believe in putting employee experience at your customer experience department, because you need knowledge about HR, knowledge about the people. I come sometimes in organization where I see what the customer experience has done for HR topics,
Mm-hmm.
and then I sometimes I say it. I said, if you had look into one HR book, this could never be the outcome. Of course, you had focus groups and whatever, but there's so much research that you shouldn't have done this. And you think you've done a great job because you had all people aligned, but the outcome is something different. And learn from that too. So I do believe in working together. I
Mm-hmm.
don't believe in putting it employee experience at the customer experience department.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. And otherwise, maybe if the team is working on it, make it multidisciplinary.
Also, always,
Yeah,
always put all your stakeholders who you need for a great result, put them together in your group.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. We see also great benefits from that if we start transformations and work with employee experience in that change or transformation. We always
Mhm.
advise and work with multidisciplinary teams. So business, IT, HR, leaders, employees all together collaborating.
I,
And
I, I do think that agility and employee experience, um, well, it's, it has a great overlap.
mhm,
And we see that if you start with design thinking, then you need agile methods to bring it really to practice. But I'm not an agility expert, but you are. But I see so much overlap in employee experience.
yeah, yeah. No, that's totally true. And the ways of working and changing your way of working really helps also to develop the experience. Yeah. Hey, and if you look at future trend, because AI is rising, technology is rising. What do you foresee as a trend in employee experience? So if I speak with you in a couple of years, what is then changed or improved or?
Well, I do think that the next step is not employee experience, but human experience at work.
Mm-hmm.
And because a human experience is there for everybody that's connected to your organization, not only your employees, but everybody that's connected.
Mm-hmm.
And human experience is also that you don't see people as your employee, but as a human being with a
Mm-hmm.
life outside the company. And human experience also connect customer experience, user experience, employee experience. So for me, the next step is more human experience, going from working with personas now really individual tailor-made providing.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that we have a long way to go. If I
Yeah.
now see that not more than 20% of the organization is starting with employee experience, then we still have a long way to go. The outcome of employee experience, what people think of it in the Netherlands, it's on a scale of 1 to 10. They say it's a 6.4.
Okay.
And we know that if you really want to be happy at work, it starts from 8 to 9 and
Mm-hmm.
then
Yeah.
further.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think we have a long way to go. If I now see how still organization treat people who in recruitment onboarding, and then I really don't understand in this world where it's so hard to find great people that you still provide a lousy recruitment and a lousy onboarding. There's a reason why 50% of the younger people want to change in the first year. So I like I say, there's always a next step,
Mm-hmm.
but we still have a lot of things to do.
Yeah. So a lot of work we can, and a lot of things we also can achieve then, to make it better.
Also, and I say to organizations, you don't need to be a 9 or a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10 for everything, but just take some things you really want to be known as an employer for
Mm-hmm.
and make that a great one.
Yeah. And
And yeah,
and therefore you also, if you look at the pillars, and also where I'm a big believer in, you need to know the purpose. Why are you doing this? So in the purpose and in your mission and vision strategy of your organization, you should define what you want to bring, with value you want to bring, not only to your customers but also to your employees.
you're totally right. It starts with why. It starts with a purpose. People need meaning in life. And we use that purpose and the values a lot together with the people you want to be a great employer for to make that employee experience ambition. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what we really put in front of us. This is our ambition. This is what we want people to feel at work. And this is where we're going for the next years.
Yeah.
So you're right. You need to have purpose, meaning in your life. And that's your book all about.
Yes, it is. Hey, and
Yeah.
I believe in, because things are related. I'm specialized in transformation and change, but still, there it's also about people and purpose-driven organizations, purpose-driven people, and there the relationship with meaningful work, employee experience, engagement is really closely connected. You cannot do without, I think. Um, I'm really a believer of sharing. So I know that there are, and from learning with other people in the field, going to conferences, networks, etc. What would you advise if I would say, hey, I want to know more about employee experience and how that could work in our organization? Where can people go to?
Um, Well, if you want to start, like I said, start with really understanding what you're talking about, not starting doing it on an old way and then give it a new title. There are books, there are webinars like this, training. There are best practices. Learn from that. The next, I would say, start with listening to people,
Mhm.
and really listening, not like I did 20 years ago with listening and want to hear my own voice, what I think of things. No, really accept that human centric design is all about the other people, not my expertise. You start learning design thinking, agile methods. Really start with that. The last one is really start. Just make little step. Start with something that not too difficult, but give a nice results. Like there's a reason why people love to start with onboarding, because to give a nice first day, a nice first week,
Mhm.
you cannot go wrong with that, and it gives you confidence that you can build on more in the employee journey.
Yeah.
But I come with a lot of organization, and there's after 6 months they're still discussing, making plans about employee experience. And I said, stop with making plans, start with doing, but invest in a short master plan. And 50% of the people who start don't even have a master plan. They
Mhm.
just start, and then they find out, oh, where's my CEO in this? Where are the people I need to work for? Where do I have to start? What do I have to learn?
Mhm.
How can I become a design thinker?
Yeah.
So start with a master plan,
Yeah.
and learn from other organizations.
Yeah. So also go to conferences, networks. Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. And I totally agree with, I really also love the emphasis on the listening part. So be empathetic. Empathetic leadership is really important also to work on employee experience. And start small, because we human beings love small, quick wins. And that also gains momentum.
Yeah.
And to see, hey, okay, we're doing well. So now we can make next steps and iterate on that. And there, the combination also with agility comes in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
for the last, a lot of times people ask me, you say, well, HR person, oh, I love the concept of employee experience, but my director, my CEO
Yeah.
doesn't believe in it. And well, then I say, did you start with customer experience? Because sometimes that's the first step, and then you understand you need the people behind the customer service to deliver a great experience. Or does your management has problems with turnover or finding great people? Use their pain to create
Hmm.
momentum. uh,
Yep.
do you provide best practices? Are there people in your circle, in your brand, in that you can learn from? Try to find a way. Sometimes HR persons say, I don't even call it employee experience, I'm just doing it the way it should be, and listen to people, and we create great moments that matters, and then we go on. But still, the real steps are making if you have management and CEO uh, backing you up.
Yeah. Yeah. The buy-in from leadership. That's
Yeah.
really important to make it successful. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Absolutely. And with that, because I think we can talk for hours, but maybe
Oh,
then.
really?
Um, thank you, Helene, for being here, explaining so much on the employee experience, what it is not, how to start, build a business case, but also what is the benefit and what is necessary to make it successful. And that's also about buy-in of leadership and bringing all people in. So thank you for sharing this with us. Where
Thank
can
you
people
for
find
having
you?
me.
If yeah, of course. Hey, and where can people find you if they have questions?
Well, we're on LinkedIn, and I'm sure I'm at LinkedIn. You connect with me. I would love that. I post a lot. There's also a lot to see on my website, but let's start with LinkedIn.
Okay, very good, Helene. And there is also a community on LinkedIn around
Yes,
employee experience,
yes,
right?
we have a LinkedIn group, Employee
Yeah.
Experience, the Netherlands, Belgium.
Mm-hmm.
I also facilitate network employee experience in the
Yeah.
Netherlands. So if you want to become a member, just give me an email or give me a call. And in November, the 5th of November, we have a big event about employee experience in Utrecht, in the center
Oh,
of the Netherlands.
yeah.
And so if you're interested, everybody's welcome.
Perfect. So I would say connect with Helene and then you get all the information also. So again, thank you, Helene. I wish you a wonderful weekend. Enjoy it. Thanks everyone who joined us, who asked their questions also up front. And if you watch this in the replay and you have questions, you know where to find us, or ask your questions still in the comments and we will come back to you. Wish you all a great day and a great weekend. Thank you. Until next time.
Okay, see you next
Bye bye.
time. Bye.